Next up, George SanSouci against Efren Reyes. We can hear from SanSouci right now.
Oh, I'd like to do a little bit better, but to be honest with you, just being invited to this event, winning and losing really didn't matter. I have another tough match coming up against Efren Reyes, but he and I always enjoy playing against each other, so it's okay. It's races to 5, so you literally cannot make a single error. You know, usually I'm used to playing like races to 11, 13, where you can make an error and still, you know, prevail in a match. But in a race to 5, you can't make a single error because against, well, I mean, obviously everybody is here is qualified. So if you make an error against any of them, you could lose the match. Pool is a game where you kind of play against the table, not really against the opponent. So when you lose, you kind of lose. It doesn't matter who you lose to.
SanSouci, one of the snappiest dressers, it has to be said, at these championships. We've seen him in a few different suits. He's got the James Bond look today. Here's the MC, John McDonald.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Admiral World Pool Championships. It's Judgment Day. 64 will go and 64 will stay. Let's meet the players then. It's a race to 5. Firstly, from the USA, he's the BCA 2000 champion. From New York, Ginky, George SanSouci. And ladies and gentlemen, from the Philippines, he is without doubt the most popular man in the history of pool. Pinakamangaling numero 1, the magician, Efren Reyes.
John McDonald didn't let us down there, did he? Neither will your commentary team, Jerry Forsyth and Sid Waddell.
Well, that friend's come as though he's down the barrier, working men's club, Manila, in a bomber jacket and his playing shirt with a waistcoat. But if we can have a look at his opponent, I think the wrong invitation went out to this guy. I think he thought he was going to some kind of wedding, but I've got a feeling that the tux might be preparatory to a funeral, because he's up against the world champion of 2 years ago, a legend, the magician, Efren Reyes. Mind, you know a lot about Ginky. He's a class act.
He is a class act. He's very popular. No matter where he goes around the world, he makes a lot of friends. They call him Ginky in the States. His parents gave him that nickname because that was the first word, if you can call it, that he ever spoke as a baby.
The first words that Efren Reyes spoke as a baby was dollars. A few more fistfuls. Here is the group. Horseful of Canada. Maybe a surprise to some, but not to John, I'm assure you. 10 Yamamoto, 10 Reyes, 10 Sandor Tot. Sneaking the 4th place McKenna. We will confirm out. Slight suggestion maybe of what's the word, sharking. A Cuban wiped by the opponent. That will be being looked into, I'm sure, as George clatters the pack and gets a shot on the 1.
George has a shot on the 1.
Well,
And the 9 ball is sitting over here by this corner pocket. Someone may decide to play around with that a little bit later in the match. As you can see, the 5 ball is on to make the 9. The 7 ball is on. The 2 ball is a little bit too close to the rail to mess with that. But a carom is certainly in the works. No, not now. He'll play this ball straight into the corner as long as it passes by that 9. Well, it doesn't. He's going to play the combination, Sid.
Here we go. Rian Lavaplu of George works out the angle, blue 2 to the 9. And get an early strike against the maestro.
He's made it. George SanSouci takes an early lead against the great magician Efren Reyes. There's another look at it.
And no, folks, if you just tuned in quick, you're not watching Come Dancing. This lad in the tux, as Minnesota Fat said, put it in a pool play in a tux is like putting whipped cream on a hot dog. Well, obviously, George has not read that particular line. You can wear what you like within reason here at the World Pool Championships. And a great start by SanSouci, who has had in the last is it a year or so ago, he had disc problem in his neck?
He did. He had a disintegrating disc in his neck, and he had to go in for an operation where they took that disc out and replaced it with bone from a cadaver. And a good story there. As he was going under, they told him they were going to put cadaver bone in him, and he said, well, can you dig up Mosconi?
The great Willie Mosconi. Some would say the greatest pool player ever of all time. Ran 5.26 at pool.
That 2-ball rattled, almost went in for him, but he's come up dry, and now you get to see the great Efren Reyes. Here's another look at that break. Look at that cue stick bend and the determination in George's eyes.
Race to 5, and here is one of the greatest sportsmen on earth, Efren Bata Reyes, from the barrio of Manila, where when he was a little boy, just like the great W.C. Fields, hung out at the pool room. His uncles slept on the table sometimes, played against American servicemen, and learned to do magic like that.
If you've never seen this man play, you're in for quite a treat. That maple stick becomes a wand in his hands. That's why they call him the magician.
And a wonderful character, brilliant at chess, which he plays all the time in between games. And he does actually say that he learned some of the magic by watching bums and hobos and no-hopers try daft shots in pool halls when he was a kid. It's proven that sometimes the shot of a genius is the shot of a madman. And sometimes he can work tricks with that stick like Aristotle and those guys only dreamt of. A genius at work.
Well, the game that this man plays in his home country is rotation. And it's the same game as 9-ball, except there are 15 balls on the table instead of 9. So when you take those 6 balls off the table, it makes it look easy for him. Now he's got a bit of a challenge when he comes off that 6-ball. He doesn't want to let the 8-ball block him, but for Efren, that's not much of a problem.
And we all remember in this very hall a year ago, he was 8-2 up against Steve Davis, and the rest is pool history. Davis beat him 9-8 to start an amazing run.
City made a surprising error there. He ran into the 7-ball, and he wanted to go all the way back down table near that 6. With his eyes and arm, though, I would imagine that 6-ball is dead meat.
Oh, the touch of a surgeon, the mind of a rocket scientist, the demeanor of a retiring priest, genius at work, Efren Reyes.
One of the most feared men in the game. And Reyes draws his blood, ties us up 1-1. He'll be breaking off the next rack, and George can only sit, watch, and wait. Patiently waiting to come back up to the table. But as we've said, in this game, patience is despair disguised as a virtue.
Michaela Tabb, referee, is the international player of 8-ball pool. As Efren just focuses this sawed-out tight rack. Move at 3 inches the table, and even a midge's breath could get between them balls.
When you talk to Efren, he will tell you that he feels the break is the weakest part of his game. But his opponents say he doesn't have any weaknesses.
Now maybe because Efren's a bit of a hustler, he will never ever say he's 100%, and he will never ever win a game for money easily. He always gives, because they don't come back if you hammer them.
That's true. He's done a good job of sliding that 1-ball into the side pocket, but the 2 is certainly not easy. Here's another shot at that break. Very determined man. Takes a look at the combination.
Recently took the big tournament in Chesapeake.
Yes,
beating Strickland 39 in the final stage.
Yes, he won the inaugural Masters event. He's the first Master champion in America.
Pretty apt title. Wouldn't argue with that at all.
That was a two-way shot for Efren. If he made it, he could keep on playing. You can see he had position on the 3 ball. And, of course, if he missed it, as he did, he's gotten a safety.
And what is it about George's game that makes some of the pundits rave in the U.S.?
George is just an extremely solid all-around player, Sid. He pots balls well. He can put that cue ball on a string. Now, it's taken him a while to get over the operation. That was quite an ordeal for him. He was in a great deal of pain before the operation, and the pain didn't go away for a long time afterward. And really, he's just now starting to get it back in gear. Good look at his eyes. He'll look at the object ball as he strokes, and he's bobbled that one out. But that was, again, another two-way shot. The same thing. He's handed it back to Efren. Says, here, I had my go at it. Now you take a stab.
A game full of absolute fascinating characters. The great Francisco Bustamante, who could kick his way out of the locked-up safe at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. This man, the guile and imagination is sometimes incredible. The execution, ferocious.
Now, he wanted to come down behind that cluster of balls and hide George from any shot. He's been a bit fortunate in that the way this table lays now, the 2 ball is makeable, but it's very, very tough to get back onto that 3 ball. As you can see, it's at the opposite end of the table, Sid.
And an amazing Reyes, an amazing role model for young players like Alex Pagulayan, who they rave about, who's also in this tournament.
They all defer to Efren. All the Filipino players, as great as they are, when Efren walks in the room, they shut up and they listen.
Same with Darth Vader. SanSouci, what's he thinking about here? Is he kind of think defensive?
Well, he's thinking he's in a very tough spot right here. Well, he tried to put that ball in the corner, and he did a good job of getting back up table on the 3, but it just didn't work out. And now Efren has a much clearer path to work with.
Some amazing prize money as well as gambling money. Efren, $65,000 in the Ultimate Pool Challenge. He's, as I say, when he plays for money, he actually never ever lets the guy win. Never murders an opponent for money.
Efren's a very cagey guy. When he first came to the States, he realized that everyone knew who he was. They'd heard his name, but they didn't know who he was. They couldn't recognize him, so he went by the name Cesar Morales. And that lasted about 3 days until they figured out who Cesar Morales was.
Yeah, a hustler's motto. I'll not play against a drunk or the working man. And if you can afford to lose your money, I'll play you. But don't play me unless you can afford to lose.
SanSouci's done a pretty good job of tying Efren up here. But Efren's from the Philippines, one of the kicking country. They're the ones who really introduced the great kick to the game. Contact is no problem. He was trying for a safety behind the cluster, and he wanted to hide the 3 behind the 5. He did not make that. I believe George has an opening here. I think he can cut this right into the middle pocket, and then he'll have natural shape on the 4. He just doesn't want to run into that 9 ball with the cue. That's what he's taking a look at. He's really judging the path of the cue ball more than the 3.
Well, it's called SanSouci. Means no worries. Woohoo. When you're playing the maestro.
He did a real good job there, Sid. He put that cue ball on a string and pulled it right around the table. He had to have some spin on that, and of course that changes the path of the cue ball off the cue stick, and you have to allow for that.
And this simple draw shot here to get on the orange. Back and forth shot to take the window of opportunity to the left of the black.
Yeah, we have to assume here that the 5 ball does have a clear path. The problem is getting onto the 6. And it looks like he's going to take the combo, the 6-7 combo.
to point out, if you're new to the game, you must hit the low ball, in this case the green 6, but you can't play a combination shot or combination by, in this case, planting green 6 to brown 7. The only problem is that you want a guaranteed position on the green after the brown goes down.
Right, and he had to hit that firm so that the 6 ball didn't wind up behind the 8 tied up. He had to bring it back out to mid-table, and he's going to settle for the long shot. Boy, this table looks like it's a mile long when you're out there under these cameras. The pockets get very, very small. Whoa. He got it in, but it bobbled. It gave him a little bit of an electric shock on his way in.
Yes, 9 ball, just one of the many variations, probably the most popular world game of all pool.
He wants to draw out to center table here and avoid the side pocket. He's got to avoid that side pocket. That's as close as you can come without meeting disaster, Sid.
Here he goes then. To snidge ahead. 2-1. The New Yorker. Oh! Well.
That's not at all characteristic of George SanSouci's game, but as we've said so many times, here's another look at it. The nerves can really get to you here. Efren Reyes goes to the table with a gift.
Finds the heart of the pockets, and SanSouci's bow tie just twitches and droops a bit. Should have had that, shouldn't have made the mistake. As it is, the magician is in the lead. Tucker plays Bergendorf on the mezzanine. Away from here, and England's Tucker, 5-zip, going well. For 5 or 6 years, the UK #1. Tucker books his place. Bergendorf definitely out there then. So Dominguez, Younger, Tucker and Holtz look to be Well, Holtz and the boys below him in a tough position. Look out for more drama after the break.
We're back in Cardiff, Wales for the Admiral World Pool Championship. We've got a great match here between George SanSouci, Ginky, and Efren the Magician Reyes. Efren comes to the table to break off this 4th rack, leading 2-1. Oh, 5 ball went into the corner like it was destined, and he's got an easy shot to start off. Now the 2 and 3 have tied up. He'll have to take a look at that. He has a chance of making the 1 ball and going over and breaking those balls apart, but then they have to roll right for him to get the next shot, Sid.
Yep, just drops the cue over and...
Well, now he's decided to play the combination, unless there's a safety there that we can't see from our
It took him
angle.
about a split second to work that out. You see some guys going around as though they had a theodolite, not Efren.
Boy,
The experienced eye saw that within seconds.
there's just nothing this man can't do on a pool table. He's leaning over the 6. That's what he's checking. He wants to make sure he's clear of that with his shirt.
I reckon he could pod balls, blindfold, standing up in a hammock.
The man is fantastic. Sponsored by Puyat Sports of the Philippines. They're a long time supporter of this game. And they have quite a cadre of troops that they send around the world.
That's right. Leonardo Andam, Francisco Bustamante, and Linning is in this tournament.
You know, he makes that shot look so easy. Just steps up, throws at it, and they go in.
Well, I gather that by the time he was about 14, no American serviceman anywhere near Manila would play him for as much as $1. He was an absolute genius in his uncle's pool hall, where he learned every form of shot, from the shot of the genius to the shot of the hit and hoper.
Really, Sid, most players don't gamble with Efren, they donate to him.
A registered charity.
Yes, indeed. Efren takes it up 3-1. He's only 2 away from victory here. George SanSouci, meanwhile, sits comfortably in his chair, awaiting his opportunity.
Question for you. The Hall of Fame in the US, we've just had the recent elections and that. Is there a possibility ever of someone like Reyes being
There is now. They
inducted?
They changed the rules last year where foreigners can certainly come into the hall, and as a result, the great billiard player Raymond Ceulemans got elected this year. So as soon as Efren goes on the ballot, he's a shoo-in.
Here's
another look at that 5 ball. It goes right in the heart of the pocket. I mean, bobble, no doubt. What a great shot. Efren stands up, comes back to the table for the break. He was successful last time and got a shot on the 1. Let's see if he can repeat that performance. He's made 2 this time. The 1 and the, let's see. Not sure what the other ball was, but he put 2 of them in. And he's got a great easy shot on the 2. Nothing's tied up.
I think he's got a chess match waiting with the dancing bear.
Yeah.
He wants to get this over quickly so he can do.
That was the 7 ball that went down on the break with the 1. We'll look for Efren just to cruise around this table. This is really the toughest shot I see facing him. He's got to get back over where he's standing with the cue ball to play the pink in the corner. Decided to play it up table.
Oh, and he knew within a millimeter the weave around between the 9 and the black.
You know, I've talked to a lot of great players, Sid, and they say when they're playing position shots, they can see a line on the table, just like we draw with our telestrator, that the ball's going to follow. And it's a very clear line in their eye. Now, he wanted to come back further on that. He's really on the wrong side of this 5 ball. So we're going to get to see the magician do a little work here. He's just going to take the long shot. It's just nothing for him.
Well, even though he's humped the bridge over the 9, that bridge is no troubled water for him.
Look how comfortable he is with that.
Yeah, it's the stroke. It looks relaxed. It's under such the execution and the imagination are so perfectly in sync that it's like watching a machine.
Yeah, his stroke is water flowing easily over sand.
And what's on the beach? Pretty green stuff.
Pretty green stuff. Efren Reyes walks up to the top of the hill. George SanSouci just hasn't had an opportunity lately. He may not get back to the table, Sid.
That's right. George came dressed for terpsichore, and nobody asked him to dance. Sometimes get no chance to strut your stuff at all when Reyes is on stroke.
Efren's really found the secret to the break on this table now. Doesn't take him long to adjust. Michaela Tabb will rack these balls up for us, and Efren Reyes will come up and take them apart. Michaela's done a great job in this tournament. She always.
Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If the referees had been like that when I was 15, I might have stayed in the pool room a lot longer.
Leading by 4 racks to 1.
Efren snaps them off for us. He's dry.
And the ones that stick up.
Well, George gets to get up and strut his stuff now. Another look at the break. All balls staying up. The ball wanted to go in the side pocket, but it had a little too much speed.
And what we like about the ambience of this tournament is the way that the players, even the Reyeses of this world, give tips to kids on the tables around the sides in the pool village.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun with the kids here. The kids seem to really appreciate it. They've been giving out autographs so often, I'm surprised their hands aren't cramped. George has some work here, Sid. He's got a lot of traffic that can get in his way. He's going to... Well, he chose the easy way. He didn't go around the table. That's smart play. Don't make the cue ball do too much work.
Sometimes an idea to put a little bit aside on a shot like this to take the spin with the knuckle, i.e. in the top spinning rightward.
Oh, now he's fortunate that the 6, excuse me, he's got to get down to the 5. He's straight in on this ball. He wanted to have some angle so that he could move that cue ball down table.
Can he manufacture an angle by forcing shot?
Well, I don't think he's going to force this. I think he would rather take the longer shot. Just roll forward a little bit and take the long shot. If he strokes it hard, you'll know he's going to try and force it down table, but that's risky, and you just don't want to take a lot of risk against Efren.
That's right.
He's not happy. Yeah, he's looking at that long shot now. Since if they're both touching the rail, this is not even an easy shot to make. The rail can throw the cue ball off. He'll put a little inside English on it to try and... He's made it. He forced it clear, but boy, has he got a long shot here.
Well, the most obvious glitch that can go wrong with this one is to go into the rail too early, because it's a minute adjustment of angle that's needed.
Yeah, that was a long, tough shot at this stage of the match. Look, he's gotten some good fortune. He gets to come back to the table. He was already in his chair, and he gets to stand back up. Take another look at this one. Going for that pocket. The pool gods say, wait a minute, George. Hang on, we got a treat for you.
Efren quite tickled by that. I bet he's logged that one now. I bet in the next hour or so he works out the science, the physics of that shot, and logs it in the Reyes computer.
His book. George knows he's fortunate to be still shooting, and he can relax now because he knows he ought to be sitting down.
Put the cue down around, and the orange wasn't on the table. It's for 4-2. 4-2 it is. And that is, some people might think it's daft about us saying he's logged a that there was a mistake, but you have to learn everything as quick as you can in this game. Like, the lads come down here sometimes to support their friends, but also to watch how the rack is breaking, which balls are going in.
Exactly, because the table tends to set up patterns. If it breaks a certain way for one guy using the Sardo rack, you know you're going to get the same rack, so you can learn from everyone, and it will change throughout the day. Now, it's different today than it has been in days past because it's raining outside, so the tables are playing wetter, which means they're a little bit slower, and the angle, the rails are different.
Well, I talked to Will Strickland about the 35 minutes in Dallas 5 years ago when he won the $1 million, and he said if it hadn't been for the humidity being exactly what it was, he couldn't have done it an hour later.
Exactly.
So conditions, atmospheric conditions, do affect the physics of the rack.
George puts his all into the break, makes the 2-ball, but he's being punished. He's being punished for that good luck. He's hidden behind the 3. He's going to have to explore his options here of a kick, or more than likely, a push out. And Efren Reyes is probably the toughest guy in the world to push out to, because if you can come up with a shot you can make, you better believe he can make it.
Push out.
He's pushed out to a jump shot. Now this is a real challenge. Efren's not even going to get out of his chair. He's going to say, here, you take this. He's just going to relax a little while, let George jump those balls around the table.
Shoe leather comes expensive in the Philippines. Sienna wasted on a 6-foot toddle to the table and back.
Here we go. He's going to drive this ball down into the surface of the table, just like a basketball coming off of the floor. And it'll bounce right up over that ball.
Wants to take it on the volley. The ball shouldn't be rising when he hits.
Well, Efren made the right choice, obviously. It's a thin cut into the side pocket. Here, he has a couple of safeties available to him, so he's going to choose what to do here. More than likely, he's going to put that one ball right in this side pocket. If he chooses not to do that, he's got an area right down here where he can either place the one ball or the cue ball and have a lot of intervening balls getting in the way.
Seems to be aiming for the cut.
He overcut it. And he's left a shot if the pink doesn't get in the way, but the pink says hello.
Well, George, the luck stakes is now Efren 2, George 1, because one bit of good luck has been repaid by 2 bits of bad luck to George.
What goes around comes around. Out again, he's looking for something to hide. Well, now, this is a shot that Efren's seen many times in his career. He can put this ball right in the corner. The 7 is not blocking his path. Wow. He's left the ball hanging right in the mouth of the pocket. Look how close that is. George doesn't have a whole ball to work with, but he's got enough. He'll come off rail first, and he should be able to get position on that 3 ball. Look for him to strike the rail just before he hits the 1 ball. He's probably going to come right down this way, hit the rail right about there, come off the 1 ball, and then he can come back up into this part of the table. Or slide around and go 3 rails. He's gone 3 rails. And he's got his shot on the 3. He's done well.
Nice, that's a class shot. Class piece of Picasso work as well by Jerry.
You know, the real work on this table, Sid, is down here on the bottom rail where that 5 and 6 ball are sitting. That's what George is taking a look at now. Can he make a combination? There's certainly not room between them to put a cue ball. But first he's got to worry about the 3, then the 4. And he's left enough of an angle where he can get back down table. He'll have to go. He's going to have to drive the cue ball to here, then back and back to here.
Again, finesse control needed.
He's gotten there. You couldn't do any better than that, Sid.
Yeah.
But you know, this combination is not dead on. The 6 ball is further off the rail than the 5, so this is a challenge. He's marking the exact spot on that 5 ball that he wants to hit, and the 5 is going to come off into the center of the table, so he has to control the cue ball and make sure he winds up on the shot after this one's over. He's made the 6, decided to go around the world with the cue ball to get back.
This last passage of play by SanSouci showing you the sort of infinite precision of direction and control you need for this game, and occasionally the use of power to good effect.
But he doesn't have a full pocket to work with here. He's got to be very, very precise.
Yeah, it could all turn to clear if he gets a flick on that brown 7 here.
If he makes this shot, he goes on. If he misses it, he'll be sitting forever. Oh, he's decided on the safety. He's going to hide him behind the brown. Pretty smart play there, George. Now he's going to live to see another day.
Well, you've got to have a strong dose of the smarts against this guy. I think we'll go 3 cushions and put it in the left middle.
No. Efren's one of those guys who keeps it simple. That's why he's so successful. All he's got to do is drive that to a rail. Look at the touch he played there. I mean, he drove that ball right up to a rail, made it as tough as possible for George.
Touch of a surgeon, hand in a sharp scalpel. Yeah, delicate area.
Efren's saying, yeah, that was a good shot, wasn't it? Beat that, George.
So your name means no worries, SanSouci? Have a bit of this.
Efren's very pleased with that last shot. That's Efren's version of joy, what you just saw.
Alan, has George got any kind of defense here, or is it all-out attack on a bank?
Yeah, he could play the 5 ball up and leave the cue ball tied up behind the 8 ball. That would be ideal. He's gone for the bank, thinking he had a 2-way shot using the 8 as a blocker, but it looks to me like it's like Efren can see this ball, and all he has to do is make it. The cue ball is going to wind up with a shot on the brown if he makes this shot.
Well, if he can see it, he can execute. Like the tongue of a poisonous lizard. Oh, come on! Come on! Magician at work!
If you can't cut it, bank it. The always open for this man, even on Sunday. Efren will just cruise through the rest of this. No work at all. Leaves himself nice and straight for an easy pot of the 9, and George prepares for the handshake. Thank you very much. This one's in the books. Efren Reyes puts down George SanSouci. And we'll be looking at Efren the rest of the week. He's certainly made it through his group. Here are the rest of the people.
Yes. On this table. That shot means that Harrison beats Filipino Andam, and they both go through. There's confirmation of that. Schmidt and Andam on 10, Harrison of England 8, Poche of Canada 8, but definitely Andam and Harrison through. We'll be back with more action very soon. We have Van Staden versus Dix.
Okay, there we have it. Confirmation of the evening session. Rico Dix beating Van Staden 5-1 in this afternoon session. Reyes, he lives to fight another day, but in controversial circumstances, Rob McKenna of Wales goes out. He did not survive Judgment Day. Top night ahead as well. Look at this. The world champion, Fong Pang Chow, taking on, well, he's a star from Keighley already at this tournament in Yorkshire. Chris Melling hits the ball like you would not believe. He's first up tonight. Buchalam takes on Steve Davis. Pagalainen as well against Chamay of Mexico. Jimmy White in action again this evening. He's well, had some interesting games so far. How far will he go in the competition though? Chris Melling though, the man we want to talk about later on. Fong Pang Chow. We mentioned Steve Davis going through this tournament very well. He's going to survive Judgment Day. He gave us one of the most thrilling matches of last year though. Here it is.
Davis has come back from 8-2.
Right,
Reyes has wanted one rack for all that time. Unbelievable game. If Davis can win this rack, the world champion is out. Davis goes through. Productive break! Is it ever? What's his shot like? On the blue too.
Got a shot on the 2. Back from the grave. The nugget. 2 balls down, and he's got a long 2. And have a look at this pot, and I can tell you where the 3 is. If he can roll this in, he's almost guaranteed to finish on the 3.
He could touch the tension. These people will go absolutely ballistic. Bachi! If Davis can win this rack, to come back from 8-2 against, some people say the greatest pool player ever. Some people think Reyes is one of the half dozen greatest ever. The holder is just sitting there, hunched, and says it all. I am Efren Reyes. I'm the world champion, the maestro, the magician. I was 8-2 up. Look at the scoreline now. 8 each. Last rack of the match. Davis. Any problem ball, Jim? I don't know that there is.
Steve's 9 ball is on a different planet right now. The shots he's playing, the way he's weaving that cue ball around the table. This is without a doubt the best performance from him that I've ever seen. And I've almost been commentating on every match he's played 9 ball.
Same here. For a while in learning the game, his break, he tried to do the American style break, but then he adapted it to a sort of stiff-armed stab. And stiff-armed stab is what he's given Reyes here. Incredible match. Played with incredible tension.
That kicked, Sid. He got a kick on that 4. He knows it. He wants the white cleaned. And Michaela Tab, for one of the very few times here, called on to clean the cue ball. But that skidded very noticeably. Now Steve's got to force this. This has to be hit with some pace, and you know what that means. We've seen a lot of these balls refused unless they're right in the heart of the pocket.
No time in the jaws. Left-hand side. Into the pocket. Is he ever good? On the brown 7. He's not hesitating now. He knows.
Sid, he's a winner.
Destiny is his.
He's a winner.
He's a winner.
From 8-2 down.
Unbelievable.
He's just snatched a monumental victory right out of the jaws of defeat.
Sorry, all your people in Manila. Efren Reyes, world champion, is now out. Davis has done a number on the world champion. At last, St. George's flag is raised. Davis back from 8-2 to put out the champ. Magnificent playing of 9-ball pool. People absolutely rapturous here in Cardiff, Jim.
And Steve with the performance of his life on a 9-ball table. Congratulations all around. A truly remarkable performance by both of these legends.
Let's hope for more drama like that tonight. The stadium empty at the moment. It will be packed to capacity even later on. Steve Davis, Jimmy White and the reigning world champion Fong Pang Chow all in action. 4 of these world championships. It's all about potting the 9 ball, potting the yellow.
They were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you